Can you guys hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
We're live streaming.
Yes.
That light's too bright. That better?
Yep.
That bright light chandelier in your eyes.
No, it's all right. It's all good.
Okay, Bryce, I'll go ahead.
When can you hear me?
Can
Thank you.
just turn it off as people walking behind me here for a minute. Getting dinner in here. Okay. Hi, Emily, can you hear me?
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Emmy, can you hear me? It's not showing. Mute. I better send her a message. Back.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
All right, sorry, I got an iPad, so I'm trying to figure it out.
You got it.
Okay, now I'm too close. How are you guys?
Good. How are you? Happy New Year.
Yeah, thanks. You too. Woohoo! New Year, that's what I like. So this will be a short meeting, huh?
No, I don't know about that.
Hey, don't be a bearer of bad news.
Never say short. You just
It's
jinxed it.
shorter. It definitely will be shorter than our last meeting.
Anything shorter than that.
What
You're
was the
right,
record
Gwen.
on it?
It does jinx it when you never say, oh, it's a short agenda.
She's gonna type these minutes if it goes that long again. I'm gonna put her to work.
Yeah, that was pretty
Hi,
long.
Terry.
Evening, everybody.
Now, hopefully,
Good evening.
Hi, Terry.
I'm gonna play with this a little bit and mute it and unmute it.
Okay.
So I know what I'm doing. Okay, I got it. Woohoo.
Leo, get away. Come here. I feel like we're missing a lot of people still.
You have 5 minutes.
I think I got 4.
4. Sorry.
Here comes a couple.
Hello,
Hi, Chris.
how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Well, not bad. Just want to make sure my speaker works.
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, bye.
You can't leave though. Yeah, they're coming on.
Hello.
Good evening, Mayor.
Good evening. Happy New Year to everyone.
Got it.
Happy holidays.
They got their TV going in the background.
Uh-oh.
It must be me.
Hey, Ken, you gotta turn your TV down.
Leave that on for next week, Ken.
Go
No
talk to
watching, no watching TV and then being in a meeting. For those of you who will be speaking under open to the audience, you will just need to raise your hand or do a reaction where it raises your hand. And then I will call on you as we see you. And if you're not speaking, please stay muted. Hi, Candy.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Great. How was your holiday?
It was good, quiet.
Quiet.
The older I get, the more I like the quiet.
It's really quiet.
Really quiet.
Okay.
We ready, Gwen?
Yeah. I will just keep admitting them in as we go, but go ahead.
Okay. All right. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Monday, January 4th, 2021 Vermilion City Council meeting. Happy New Year. Thank you for being with us. We will begin tonight's meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of reflection or silent prayer. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Gwen, could you please call the roll?
Yes. Gahan,
Here.
Grady,
Present.
Luca. I don't think I saw. Frank, just raise your hand. Halifax,
Yes.
Holmes,
Here.
Stark,
Here.
Aaron.
Yes, here. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes of the December 14th, 2020 council meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Gwen?
Grady,
Yes.
Stark,
Yes.
Holmes,
Yes.
Halifax,
Yes.
Luca. I think Frank's having a hard time. There you go.
Yes.
Skahan,
Yes.
Aaron,
Yes.
motion carried.
Okay, we'll next go to correspondence. And just a quick question, Ms. Fisher, we have 2 items, correct? I have them to read, but we don't have any more than 2, correct?
Correct, just 2.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and read both of those items. First is an item that was received on Friday, and I'm just going to read it, and then the names of the people I'll read off. Chief Stempowski, the firefighters of Vermilion Fire Department are submitting a vote of no confidence letter in respect to the officers of the Vermilion Fire Department, excluding Lieutenant Derek Kuba, Lieutenant Brian Dunigan, and Fire Marshal Rodney Johnston. This letter cites the following issues that are taking place inside the department and have not been addressed by officers or yourself. Hostile work environment that has produced poor morale and possibility of losing personnel. Lack of communication on department issues, lack of training, poor judgment regarding officers' abilities and scene judgment, lack of manpower, lack of training for officers, safety concerns regarding apparatus and equipment. The firefighters feel that there must be change in the core of the Vermilion Fire Department. We are proud to serve our community and take pride in doing so. We feel that under the current management, the ability to grow and evolve cannot take place effectively. We would like a reasonable plan to be in place by February 1st, 2021. Respectfully submitted, the Vermilion firefighters. And please give me a moment, as there are some names I'm going to read off. Doug O'Donnell, Tyler Keith, Doug Bodie, Rick Thrasher, Dominic Stratford, Scott Innes, Eric Johnston, Courtney Kovalan, Andrew Monette, Brian Smith. Those were the signatures to that letter.
I think there was Chris Horton.
Thank you. Yes, and you did notify me of that. I apologize. Chris Horton is added to that. Okay, the second item sent Friday, January 1st, 2021 at 10:03 a.m. from Georgianne Tarrant. Bear with me.
Karen?
Dear Tarrant, sorry. Dear community leaders, there are many concerned citizens that do not want to see Harbor View Mansion and Museum demolished. An organized group of concerned citizens has been working diligently with representatives from Preservation Ohio to develop a plan to repurpose this historic building. We want to help the city turn the Main Street Beach project into a first-rate attraction. Attached, please find a proposal that could be used as a starting point for discussions, collaboration, and cooperation between local groups interested in making this a reality. We look forward to presenting this idea to you at your convenience. Sincerely, Georgianne Tarrant, concerned citizens to save Harbor View. And that being written, we'll go to the President of Council's report. Tonight, I do not have a report. So then we'll go to committee reports, beginning with Councilwoman Stark.
Thank you, President Herron. The Legislative Committee met on December 14th. There were, let me look, 4 items on the agenda that evening. The first topic was emergency clause in ordinance. The second topic was junkyards draft legislation. The third topic was shipping containers draft legislation. And the fourth topic was review of ordinance 2020-58 entitled insurance. You can go online to our website at thecityofvermilion.com and you can read all of the minutes. Gwen has those typed word for word from our meeting. So you can view those online. Our next meeting will be next Monday, which is January 11th, and I believe that will be on Zoom. And as far as Vermilion Community Services, we have not had a meeting due to the COVID pandemic, and I will keep you informed if we hear anything coming up on that. And that concludes my report.
Thank you very much, Councilwoman Stark. Are there any questions or comments from members? And just to add, yes, it will be on Zoom. Yes, all meetings, and I'll say it right now, all meetings are going to be on Zoom until at least the end of February. So we can all, that's just the way it's going to be. So thank you very much. We'll go to Councilman Luca.
You're on mute, Frank.
The next utilities meeting, Port Authority will not be meeting this month, and that concludes my report.
Okay, thank you. And the next utilities meeting will be next Monday, correct, at 6 o'clock? You kind of went out on that.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. And we'll go then to Councilwoman Brady.
Thank you, Council President. The Finance Committee met on December 14th. There are 2 things on the agenda. We talked about PACE financing, which is geared towards commercial buildings, and it's special assessment on property for energy improvements. There'll be more discussion about that, and Council will have to look at whether there's a project that fits it in the city. It will be going through the Lorain County group that does the PACE financing. The second thing was a temporary budget, and Amy did tell us that we are in the black with a small carryover for next year. The next Finance Committee meeting will be next week, December 11th. The Planning Commission meets this Wednesday, January 6th. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Any questions or comments for Councilwoman Brady? Okay, thank you. We'll go then to Councilman Holmes. You're on mute.
Thank you. Thank you. Sorry. I have to apologize. My glasses broke, so I'm kind of doing this blind here. Health and Safety will meet next Monday, January 1st. And Parks and Rec will meet January 19th. Again, all meetings will be at Zoom at 6 p.m. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions or comments for Councilman Holmes?
Brian said January 1st, but he doesn't have his glasses, so I'll just correct him and say January 11th.
Yeah, January 11th.
And we know there's a difference between 1 and 11, don't we?
Yes. Too many hashes and too many lines there. So, we're working on getting glasses on Wednesday. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Holmes. Okay, there is not presently a Stormwater Advisory Commission meeting. However, I will be setting one after we receive information, a little more detailed information on what our budget's going to look like. I would like to be able to sit down and look at potential projects with the amount of money we have with that commission. So there will be a meeting. You can count on it in the spring, hopefully sooner rather than later. But when we don't have an idea of where our money is, we really, it's a very fruitless discussion until we can actually sit down and have some meaningful talk about the things that we need to get done. So with that being said, then we will go to Councilwoman Skahan.
Thank you, Steve. The next Historic Design and Review meeting will be via Zoom, January 6th at 6 p.m. And the Vermilion Tree Commission will be on January 13th, 9:30 a.m., also on Zoom. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilwoman Skahan. We'll go finally then to Councilman Hollivax.
Thank you, Council President. Streets, Buildings, and Grounds will meet next Monday, January 11th at 7 o'clock on Zoom. The contractor's registration will meet on Tuesday, January 26th at 6 o'clock, and that will also be Zoom. And Zoning Board of Appeals will also meet that same night, Tuesday, January 26th at 7 o'clock on Zoom. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilman Hollivax. Before we go to the Mayor's Safety Director's report, I want to make a very quick but important comment. 3 weeks ago, we had an extremely long meeting. It was very substantive. All the issues we discussed were very important. And our council clerk, Gwen Fisher, was able to complete all of the minutes extremely quickly and very professionally. That is a Herculean task. I am sure that it may not seem like it as you watch a meeting, but all of the words that are said become, of course, public record, and we have to keep that. And I just want to express my heartfelt gratitude for not only the work she's done for many years for this city, but when called upon to do so during the holidays, this was an exceptionally great job. And I just am very, very want to express my gratitude. And I believe I'm speaking on behalf of this entire city. So if you,
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
it's like everybody.
And on vacation, some of it on vacation.
Absolutely. Very professional and selfless employee the city has. And I think people know how lucky we are and blessed to have Gwen Fisher as our council clerk. So thank you very much.
Thank you again.
We will now go to the Mayor's Safety Director's report. Mayor Forthoven.
Do I have my off? Yeah. Thank you, Council President. I second your comments. Under Safety Director reports, members of the Vermilion Police Department and Fire Department were vaccinated against COVID-19 last week by the Erie County Health Department. There were no significant reactions that were reported, and I am gratified that our first responders are protected as they continue to serve our community. In the Mayor's report, I have submitted to Council a resolution reflecting Council's support of the Main Street Beach Revitalization Project as presented December 14th at the Streets, Buildings, and Grounds Committee meeting. I ask the Council pursue the passage of this resolution as the Parks Department is eager to do what we can before the beginning of the summer beach season. Also, I want to comment that over the, and this is going to be a very short report, but it was really impressive to me over the holiday season. Business interest in downtown Vermilion continued, and I mean new business interest. We are having some very encouraging discussions with properties down at the east end of Liberty Avenue. And also I had a rather prestigious company inquire about moving into downtown Vermilion in the old section. And my biggest challenge was playing matchmaker to an available space. I mean, there are just very few available spaces downtown anymore. The one that we had was just a little too small. Now I'm now trying to twist the arms of some building owners who currently don't have their businesses, their buildings open for retail business to consider opening their buildings to retail business. But it's a real plus for the city of Vermilion that we have this much interest in our town. Several said, we are told that we need to be in Vermilion. And I say, yes, you do. So that actually is my mercifully short report to begin the year. And I will entertain any questions through the council president.
Thank you, Mayor. Does anybody have any questions or comments? Yes, Councilwoman Brady.
I just wondered, Mayor, oops, I'm sorry. Am I unmuted?
You're on. No, you're good.
Okay, I'm sorry. Are we ready to put the stormwater contract on next week's agenda, on the committee agenda?
No, we're nowhere close to, I mean, there hasn't been a response yet from Erie County. Where we're at right now is the commissioner needs to call me and counter the initial proposal that was placed by the city engineer and the city services director. Our old contract, our 31-year-old contract, was reviewed by the law department. It was also reviewed by an independent contractor who is a specialist in wastewater management about what we should be doing in order to bring ourselves up to best practices for this type of contract. And it was proposed to the Erie County. We are now waiting for a response from them. Now, what's going to happen probably is some night, usually right at dinner time, one of the commissioners will call me and the discussions will continue.
Do you have a council person sitting on that committee?
There really is no committee, Barb. It's me and the commissioners, and it's back and forth. Guaranteed that in the end, whatever proposed contract they're in will end up before council.
Thank you.
Okay. I had a quick question, Mayor. And you went out a little. I just want to make sure, do all of our first responders, have they all been given the vaccine?
I believe the only one that was still straggling was the fire department, because they are volunteers and have other jobs. It was mostly just arranging a time. I think there might be a few first firefighters that haven't yet been vaccinated.
Okay, but the plan
is
is
they had to do them in two different weeks.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. So if they wish, they will have access to that.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Are there any other questions or comments? And I can't see everybody, so if you do, and I go to the next thing, just kind of speak up or put your hand up or let Gwen know. Any other questions or comments for the mayor tonight? Okay, thank you, Mayor. We'll go to the service director's report with Mr. Valerius.
Tony, can you hear us? Okay.
I'm very happy to report that the Erie Regional Planning Commission, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, sorry. I'm very happy to report that the Erie Regional Planning Commission informed me that the city of Vermilion will be receiving funding through the State Capital Improvement Program for the Liberty Avenue Water Main Replacement Project Phase 2, which we applied for through the Ohio Public Works Commission. This project will see a new water main installed from South Shore Court, where Phase 1 will leave off, and continue east to Niagara Road. This section of water line is also part of the EPA mandated 10-year water main replacement program for the city. And that concludes my report.
Thank you very much. That is great news. Are there any questions or comments for Mr. Valerius tonight?
Tony, I have a quick question.
Yes.
I know we put the sidewalk program off till, I believe it was October 1st of 2022. That project will be within that time frame as well, right? Before the sidewalk project goes into effect. Maybe Chris
Yes.
can.
You were kind of breaking up there.
Okay. So
But
the
this-
sidewalk program goes into effect in 2022.
Right.
And I did send out, reminder letters to everybody advising them, because we were kind of waiting for this project, but it'll be within the parameters before
Yes,
that timing, correct?
Yes, this project should be done prior to the deadline.
Okay, good.
And Councilwoman Brady, you had your hand up?
Yeah, Tony, I wondered if you had any answer to the sanitary sewer issue I raised in regarding the Tradesman Park project development.
I feel that if
heard
there's
anything.
facilities for Tradesman Park to tie into, I mean, we need to allow them to tie in. We encourage them to tie in, obviously. under normal circumstances, the VOL lift station would not be overworked or anything. It's only when there's I or a rain event is when something happens where that facility isn't able to take everything all the time.
I understand that, but you have a manhole that bumps 3 feet in the air during a rain event, and you're going to put more sanitary into that system. I will publicly object heartily if you do that. You just can't. And that's why I wanted to raise it in front of council.
Chris Howard.
You know?
Right. However, under normal circumstances, go ahead, Chris, if you want to say something.
Barb, I'll respond to your email. I didn't get a chance to yet. So that's on me, but I will get you a response regarding that.
Thank you. I think depending on what the response is, I think council may have to look at this situation. I think it's pretty drastic at this point. Okay, thank you. I just wanted to get it on the public record.
Okay. Any other questions or comments for Mr. Valerius?
I don't see any.
Okay, thank you. So we'll go down to the finance director's report and Ms. Hendricks.
Thank you, Councilman Herron. And Happy New Year, everyone.
Same to you.
Happy New Year.
Board up here. I thought I had it open. And it's hiding from me. There we go. On late last week, on Thursday, I believe it was, the auditor's report, audited financial statements for 2019 were received back from the Auditor of State's office, and they were sent out electronically to all council members and members of the administration to review. We had one citation for non-compliance that resulted from a lack of a written policy for a specific fund that's used for the sale and forfeit of forfeited items or cash related to various criminal cases. The report does note that all of the transactions that were within the audit period were properly accounted for in relation to the funds. The only weakness was that we did not have a written policy as is required by Ohio Revised Code. So the police department has reached out to neighboring agencies to get some samples, and they're very close to having something to present for adoption on that. But given that to be the single non-compliance issue that was noted, I really want to express my appreciation to the staff in the finance department. Teresa and Beth do a fabulous job. And I also want to thank the entire city staff, because over the last 2 years, they've been very supportive and cooperative as we've moved forward with new procedures and policies. And all of these continue to strengthen our financial accounting and reporting qualities. And also an additional thank you to Mayor Forthover for his leadership in laying the groundwork for that progress. So moving on to 2020 already now, audit reports and financial statements now that we've passed the new year mark. A little bit of a sneak peek report on the 2021 budget. We did adopt the temporaries for the year, but we still do have a lot of questions. Our questions for next year's budget are not really so much in the area of our operating expenditures. There are project questions to be answered in the various utility funds or street funds as well. But we also need to keep in mind as we're looking at that, and I'll go into that in more detail at the Finance Committee meeting, but that our year-end fund balances across all of our major funds are bolstered at this time by one-time revenue sources, such as the CARES funding. There was $720,000 that came in for CARES funding, as well as extra Bureau of Worker Compensation rebates that totaled about $350,000. And both of those funds really were distributed across our labor intensive funds, or those that have payroll expenses. So those funds were helped by that. And the deadline for CARES expenditures have now been extended to December 31st of 2021. However, we have accounted for our allocation at this time. Revenues in the general fund that experienced losses this year were income taxes, about $30,000 less than 2019, but about $50,000 less than we had estimated in the operating fund. Municipal court income and fees, about $73,000 was lost over the previous year. Hopefully 2021 will see that stabilizing. I don't know how much will be regained. That remains to be seen. One of the biggest things that we've been able to gain and be able to use in supporting our operating expenses and purchases in the last couple of years is investment income. In 2019, we received almost $325,000. We received $180,000 less this year in investment income due to declining interest rates. And we'll see that begin to ebb down a little bit further in 2021 as any things that have matured during 2020 had to be reinvested at lower rates. So just some things to keep in mind that's $285,000 in annual revenue until things begin to rebound in the economy and more activities begin to take place, for example, with the court following the COVID crisis clearing up. We hope that it's going to be an ongoing loss to the general fund moving forward. Funding for streets from income taxes, fuel taxes, and other state fees that are paid with car registration, such as permissive use, fell $130,000 below our estimate for 2020. This was actually the year we were supposed to see an additional $300,000 come in from the fuel tax because of the changes in that law mid-year in 2019. So we were actually $130,000 below our estimates. That again remains to be seen as to how that will materialize in planning for projects in 2021. Water and sewer fund revenues were up slightly, primarily due to increased revenue from tap fees and various other things related to new construction, dump fees, and other miscellaneouses. There was a slight increase in usage revenues, but that was offset by loss in penalties and disconnect fees during the time from March through October and early November, that all of those things had been waived. So we've done a lot in the last 2 years to establish some cash reserves as well as reduce expenses, but this is something we'll need to keep an eye on as we move forward in some of the spending plans that we may have. I have a technology update that the parts have all finally arrived and the initial programming has been done by our IT staff for the new telecommunications system for the city. It has been installed in the police department thus far, and haven't heard of any major glitches at this point, but they are working with it and honing it in for their department and usage. And the next installations will be in the fire department so that we do have all of our public safety forces in on that new system as well, with City Hall coming next with that. Also, we have made an investment in the infrastructure for our technology systems. We had a lot of servers that were beyond their expected life and also were at capacity and causing some processing snags in some of our departments. So those have all been ordered and will be installed in the coming weeks in the part of the fire station that's dedicated as the new city data center. And as the IT team has been around to various departments and sites throughout the city, they have upgraded the UPS systems, the uninterrupted power supply systems in those departments to help avoid outages on the network, and also systems to provide alerts of problems due to power outages to the appropriate people, even if they are not on site at the time. So that monitoring is in place. And also backups have been put in place for redundancy for internet services, so that systems and reporting can continue on as well if one provider does drop off. And those are things that are invisible to most people, and that's a good thing. But I can tell you that I sleep a little better at night right now with those things in place. And if there are any questions, I'd be happy to address those. And if not, that concludes my report for this evening.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions or comments for Ms. Hendricks tonight? I don't see any.
Brian.
Brian, Mr. Holmes?
Just a quick question, two quick questions. So as far as the IT and equipment and stuff, so the old IT stuff, the old having to call somebody up, I mean, we've kind of gotten rid of that program or that system. Is that correct? Prior us going with Life Care IT. What I'm referring to is our issues before where, you know, we had to call up Dale or we had to call up our other IT guy, and there was always but that issue's been taken care of. Is that correct?
Yes. We really have. They have had a couple of snags with some quarantines recently, with their families and things like that. Not that have occurred with others as well throughout the city staff and in the community. But beyond that, they have their availability both remotely during those times as well as being on site, have been able to handle that. And as you mentioned, free up Dale for what he's hired to do in the police department. And we have also the backup services we had with the other firm have been completely discontinued at this point in time, and things seem to be running very well. There's always some little snags along the way, especially when you're making changes, but I'm much more comfortable with where we are. I think we've made a lot of progress. And for example, the value that they have been adding, they have been highly involved in the new fire station in ways that I wouldn't even have considered that would be technology related, such as alarm systems and situating the gear for the alarm systems and the sirens on the poles and security cameras, door locks, and how those can all be intermingled in technology. And they have handled it amazingly. So they have been really helpful in that. With the phone system, we've paid for parts that we bought at cost through them. And we're not paying for any labor to have our phone system installed and programmed. That's all been a part of our blanket contract with them. So I have been very, very pleased with the value we have gotten and the service and responsiveness.
Okay. The other question deals with the Main Street revitalization project, which is, first reading for support is on there, but is there any further legislation as far as funding that we need to bring up for legislation for next week?
I don't think we're going to have the legislation. Are you talking about potential borrowing?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. I've been working closely with Brad Schultz and Mr. Parker and Mark Weisenberger from the Parks Department on that. It didn't start out specifically as a relationship to that project, but I was talking to them because their debt was expiring with the Sailorway project. And given the current interest rates, did they wish to look at financing to possibly expedite some of the other projects that they have going on? And so I have been working also with Sadzina and Associates, and our bond counsel had conversations with them in late November and again in December as we work towards some of the details. And I understand there was a resolution passed at the last Parks meeting. And I had conference with Brad today on the phone regarding some of the options that we had with that. And that is going to be a part of my finance report next week, but
Okay.
Finance Committee report next week. However, we won't have the legislation for Monday. It will take a little more time than that to get that drafted. And then we can have it on the agenda on the 25th.
Okay. I was concerned about timeframes on that. So just wanted to see if we need, to see if we needed to move that forward or not.
We are moving forward. Yes.
Okay. All right. Sorry. Keep dropping my camera here. So, all right. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Sure.
I have a quick question. Do you think that it would be feasible that if we were to schedule, say, a work session on the 22nd of February, that we could have some pretty, I don't know, solid numbers, but you could have kind of a comprehensive outlook from that point on a budget. We could discuss the budget, and also I would like to discuss the legislation and a couple of other items which aren't really related to finance. But just wondering if we did that, could we cover budget and then council members have the opportunity to kind of go through and then ask any questions?
I would certainly be happy to have a meeting of that type. The week of February 22nd, I am not available.
Perhaps March. Well, let's leave it up in the air then. That's fine. I just wanted to kind of have a opportunity for the members to kind of look at that. So maybe let me get back to everybody on that. It's just up in the air. So Councilwoman Scahan, did you have something?
And could we include with that meeting, whenever it is, the projects to figure
Right.
out? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, just so we could talk about
Okay.
some projects, where we are with money. Do we have that? But if you're not available, or the money's not, we don't really have a good picture at that time, it would be kind of silly to have a meeting because we're not going to know where we are. So, but we'll find a time. We'll get it done.
Okay. All right. Just that just happens to be the 1 week of 2021. I'm not available.
Nope, not a problem. Don't worry about it. That's okay. Any other questions or comments for Ms. Hendricks? I don't see any. Okay. Thank you. All right. We'll do the city engineers report. Mr. Howard.
Thank you, Council President. The only thing I have tonight, I would like council to consider passing ordinance 2021-2. This is preliminary legislation for ODOT's resurfacing, urban paving of State Route 60 and State Route 6 within the Erie County Corporation limits. The state needs us to pass this so they know how much money the city is going to contribute to that project. So I asked council to consider passing that tonight. And that concludes my report.
Any questions regarding that or any other matter for Mr. Howard?
I'm sorry. So does that mean they will stop at the Lorraine County line? Is that what you're saying?
Correct. This year they're doing Erie County. Next year they'll be doing Lorraine County.
Okay. Thank you.
Emily?
Never mind. It was a different issue I was thinking of, not this one.
Okay. Any other questions or comments?
Monica?
I just have a question. This doesn't mention any dollar amount on the ordinance, that the copy that we have here. Is there a dollar amount that we are going to be approving, or?
Yeah, in the legislation, the city's portion is $330,000. Originally, the state wanted more money. We were able to work them down. But this money has to be contributed in February to the project. Construction will start probably in June. But we'll get final legislation from the state once they bid it out. But that's their preliminary number that we've agreed with them.
Okay, and Amy, you've already looked at these numbers for our budget and moving forward. Perfect, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Don't see anybody.
Okay, thank you, Gwen. All right, we'll go to the law director's report. Mr. Stumphauser.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. I have no report.
Thank you. Okay, so then we do not have response to the audience, so we'll go to open to the audience. Gwen, you're have to be the pilot.
Yeah, the first hand raised was Marion. Please unmute yourself. And you want to tell them our time frame, Steve? You want to go through that rule with them?
Yeah, we have a 5-minute time frame.
Oh.
So yeah, we'll go to 5 minutes, and the other rule, of course, is if it doesn't relate to city business, then we're just going to give you a chance to redirect to city business, and then if it's not involving city business, then we move on to the next speaker. So we thank you for your cooperation.
Thank you. Is this the correct time to speak about the effects of the loss of Harborview Mansion?
Yes, it is. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you for this opportunity. My name is Marion Vance. I'm president of the board of Preservation Ohio. Preservation Ohio is a statewide historic preservation organization and the oldest in the state. Several weeks ago, I had the opportunity to drive down the street and see Harborview Mansion in my window of my car and have it take my breath away. And I'm encouraging you to think very carefully before you allow a demolition permit to take away that significant building that's on that street in Vermilion. It's obviously built at a time when it was very important that beautiful homes be built to signify who was living there. It is not in, I have been in many, many homes that have been restored, and some of them I was afraid. I was certainly impressed with the quality of Harborview Mansion and the fact that it is in such good condition. It has some mold issues, it has some asbestos issues, but all of that is remedial. And I thank you for this opportunity to speak on behalf of a building which has no words. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Vance. Okay, and is anybody up next?
I don't see any other hands.
Nobody? Okay. Thank you very much. All right, so we'll go next to old business. We do not have any. Is there any new business tonight? I don't have any down.
No.
Okay.
I don't have any.
We'll go now to Mr. Stumphauser for the reading of the ordinances. The first two items, of course, have been tabled. And then I believe there was one addition, correct?
Correct. I made an addition just because it was my fault that I forgot to add ordinance 2021-3. So I revised the agenda and made sure that was included.
Okay.
Do you have that, Ken?
Yeah, I do. I have
Okay.
it.
All right.
It's
Thank
on
you.
the agenda.
Okay.
All right, you want me to proceed, Mr. Council President?
Yes, please.
First reading of ordinance 2021-1, an ordinance amending section 1270.01A1 agricultural district, section 1270.02 R1 estate residence district, section 1270.03 R2 rural residence district, section 1270.04 R3 suburban residence, family urban residence district, section 1270.07 R5 apartment residence district, section 1270.08 R5. I'm looking here. I'm seeing too many 1270s, sir. Existing.
The fourth line down. Yeah, fourth line down on the right.
Okay.
1270.08.
Section 1270.11B1 neighborhood business district, section 1270.12 B2 central business district, section 1270.13 B3 industrial commercial district, section 1270.14 B4 Motorist Service District, 1270.15 1-1 Light Industrial District, 1270.16 I2 Heavy Industrial District, Section 1270.17 I3 Industrial Park District, Section 1270.1 IU Utility District, and Section 1270.19 FP Floodplain District of the Planning and Zoning Code of the City of Vermilion to prohibit junk building, shops, and yards.
That will go to a second reading. I bet you can't wait for that. Okay. Please proceed.
So first reading of ordinance number 2021-2, an ordinance authorizing the mayor of the City of Vermilion, Ohio to enter a consent agreement with the Ohio Department of Transportation for the resurfacing urban paving Erie County and declaring an emergency.
Okay, do we have a motion to suspend the rules with respect to ordinance 2021-2 and declaring emergency?
So moved.
Second.
Gwen?
Gahan,
Yes.
Brady,
Yes.
Luca,
Yes.
Alavax,
Yes.
Holmes,
Yes.
Stark,
Yes.
Aaron.
Yes.
Motion carried.
So do we have a motion to adopt ordinance 2021-2 and declaring emergency?
So moved.
Second.
I believe this matter should go by way of emergency as it relates to the safety of the community, this condition of that street and that in Erie County. It's Erie County, right? Yeah, the Erie County section is proper for declared emergency. Also, given the representations made by Mr. Howard concerning the state's requirement to have this money, I think it's in our best interest, in the city's best interest, to pass this with an emergency. Is there any further discussion regarding this matter? Gwen?
Stark,
Yes.
Holmes,
Yes.
Alavax,
Yes.
Luca,
Yes.
Brady,
Yes.
Gahan,
Yes.
Aaron.
Yeah.
Motion carried.
And do we have another ordinance? Do we still have one ordinance?
Yeah, it's ordinance 2021-3.
Thank you.
It's two more.
Would you like me to proceed?
Yes, please.
An ordinance enacted pursuant to Chapter 1266 of the Codified Ordinances of Vermilion, rezoning land in Vermilion, Ohio, containing an area of approximately 6.323 acres from R3 Suburban Residence District to B3 Highway Commercial District land use classification as favorably recommended by the Vermilion Planning Commission, authorizing the city engineer to amend the official zoning map of the City of Vermilion to conform herewith, as said map has been established by Section 1268.02 Codified Ordinances of Vermilion upon the effective date hereof.
That matter will go to a second reading and is also subject of a public hearing on February 1st at 6:00 p.m. on Zoom. And one more. Proceed.
First reading of resolution 2021 R-1, a resolution expressing Vermilion City Council support and endorsement of the Main Street Revitalization Project in the city of Vermilion, Ohio.
I apologize. Mr. Mayor, did you want this resolution passed? I didn't think you did, but I want to be sure.
Yes, Council President, for the reasons mentioned of getting ahead of the beach season and bidding and all that needs to be done in the meantime.
Okay, do we have a motion to suspend the rules with respect to resolution 2021 R-1?
So moved.
So moved. Second.
Luca,
Yes.
Alavax,
Yes.
Holmes,
Yes.
Stark,
Yes.
Brady,
Yes.
Gahan,
Yes.
Aaron.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Do we have a motion to adopt resolution 2021 R-1?
So
Declare an
moved.
emergency. Are you declaring an emergency?
Yeah, I think we can do that. It is a resolution, so I'm not going to go into why we should do it. I think the reason the mayor gave specific sufficient reason. But it is a resolution, so thank you. Any further discussion regarding this before?
Can I get that? Did you guys do the motions?
No, we didn't.
So
Okay.
moved.
Second. Any further discussion? Okay, thank you.
Brady,
No.
Luca,
Yes.
Alavax,
Yes.
Holmes,
Yes.
Stark,
Yes.
Gahan,
Yes.
Heron,
Yes.
motion carried.
Okay. Before we are done, I would like to announce that our next committee meetings will all be at 6:00 p.m. next week, January 11th. We will not have council on the 18th in honor of Martin Luther King Day. It's a federal holiday or state holiday, and then we will come back on January 25th for a regular council meeting at 6:00 p.m. February 1st will be a 6:00 public hearing regarding the 2021-3 ordinance that was read first reading tonight. That will be on Zoom, followed by a city council meeting. And we will have our committee meetings for February on the 8th, 6:00 p.m. And then tentatively, we will be meeting on the 22nd. That is not set in stone. However, we're going to see kind of where we are with information and see if we can have a kind of a fruitful meeting on finances and so forth, projects and all that. So I thank you all. Everything will be on Zoom through the end of February. And it's my understanding the administration is having the boards and other meetings are on Zoom as well.
That's correct, Council President.
I wish everybody well. Please look out for each other. If a neighbor's not doing well or you're not sure, stop by, knock on the door, see if people are doing all right. It's an extremely difficult time. People are dealing with loneliness and just kind of a depression. When the weather's not nice, you can't even go outside and get a breath of fresh air, it seems like. So just look out for each other and we'll be fine. We're going to have to endure it and we're doing okay, I think. So with that, I wish everybody a good evening.
Thank you.
You.
Yeah.
Good night.
Good night.
Night.